What's the origin of the word assassin? What does it mean? What are some of the most famous assassinations in history? All this and more coming up. Do keep watching, but first, please subscribe to The English Nut on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you. An assassination is the murder of a public figure. It usually refers to the killing of a head of state or other prominent person for political motives. The reason behind the killing could be to undermine a government, grab power, take revenge, get attention for a cause, or start a revolution. The person who carries out an assassination is called an assassin. You may have played the action-adventure video game Assassin's Creed or watched the film based on it. But have you ever wondered where the word assassin comes from? Its original leader was Hassan ibn al-Sabah, a missionary from Egypt. He ran his secret society of Hashashins or assassins from his stronghold in Alamut in northern Persia. At its peak, the community extended through Egypt, Syria, Yemen, southern Iraq, southwest Iran, and Afghanistan. The assassins would defeat their enemies not with a large army but by deploying individuals who would infiltrate enemy strongholds and use subterfuge to kill key military and political leaders. They were masters of disguise and usually used knives to carry out the killings. The assassins employed their techniques against their rivals in the Muslim world as well as European crusaders. The latter were Christians who fought in the Middle Ages to win the Holy Lands from Muslims. The word Hashashin means consumer of hashish. Hashish is a drug derived from the cannabis plant. Enemies of the assassins may have attributed their ability to strike at their opponents so effectively, as well as their willingness to die for the cause, to the use of hashish. Or it may simply have been a derogatory term applied to them without any basis in actual drug use. In other words, it may have been like calling someone a pothead in order to demean them. Later, the word Hashashin lost its original connection to drugs and started being used in the sense of outlaw. And in Egypt in the 1930s, it was used to mean noisy or riotous. The Venetian merchant and traveler Marco Polo wrote about the assassins. He mentioned that the young boys who were being trained as assassins were given intoxicants and taken to a secret paradisical garden by the leaders of the sect. The boys were given this experience of paradise as a taste of things to come in the afterlife, if they successfully carried out their missions. There is another school of thought that the derivation of assassin has nothing to do with hashish, but simply means a follower of Hassan. As noted earlier, the first leader of the assassins was Hassan ibn al-Sabah. According to texts from Alamut, Hassan called his disciples Asasiyun, meaning people faithful to the Asas, the foundation of the faith. Assassin may actually have come from Asasiyun. The assassins finally met their match when they tried to assassinate the Mongol leader Möngke Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan. The Mongols went after them and defeated them in 1256 in Alamut. Though the assassins managed to retake Alamut, they lost it again. With most of their strongholds gone, they operated independently for another century as contract killers, but eventually they disappeared. The Crusaders brought stories home to Europe about the Nizaris, and their nickname Hashashin entered European languages. The word became assassini in Italian and entered English as assassin in the 1530s. By that time, the original meaning of the word was long forgotten. The generalization of the sect's nickname to mean an assassin in the modern sense had already happened in Italian in the early 14th century. The verb assassinate was first recorded in English in 1600 in a pamphlet by Matthew Sutcliffe titled A Brief Reply to a Certain Odious and Slanderous Libel, lately published by a seditious Jesuit. The second time it was seen in print was 5 years later in Macbeth by William Shakespeare. Assassination has been used as a tool of power politics throughout recorded history. The first known victim of assassination is the Egyptian pharaoh Teti. This took place between 550 and 330 BC. Chanakya wrote about assassinations in Arthashastra, his famous political treatise. His student Chandragupta Maurya, who founded the Maurya dynasty in India, used assassinations to eliminate some of his enemies. In his book, The Art of War, the Chinese general Sun Tzu too wrote about assassinations as an effective political tool. 2 millennia later, Italian diplomat Machiavelli wrote in his book The Prince that it was advisable to assassinate enemies whenever possible so that they couldn't trouble you anymore. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Austria in 1914 precipitated World War I. The assassin was a Serbian nationalist called Gavrilo Princip. Closer to home, Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated in 1948. His assassin was Nathuram Godse. Prime Ministers Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi were also assassinated in 1984 and 1991 respectively. You don't always have to be a political leader for your murder to be considered an assassination. In 2006, investigative reporter Anna Politkovskaya, a critic of Vladimir Putin, was shot and killed in Moscow. She is one of the many journalists who have been assassinated during the Putin regime. So from a word meaning hashish eater that was applied as a term of abuse to a sect in medieval Persia and Syria, we get the English word assassin meaning a murderer of public figures. Do use the word in a sentence, write it in the comments section. I'm the English Nut. Bye for now.